and everybody else has terrible lives, people working 2 jobs. And she always phrased it, we can break that last hardest glass ceiling. Well, that's nice if you've got everything else in your life lined up, but even if you're a woman and you care about women's issues and you care about women's leadership, you want to hear her talking about your family and your budget and your pension and your vanishing IRA or, minimum wage job or unemployment survival.
And Donald Trump understood that, did he, and had a connection with people that she simply failed to get?
Look, I think Trump is a terrifying demagogue. While he's a terrifying demagogue, he definitely, at least, when he says we'll build a wall, virtually everyone I know in my demographic, right, which is a very privileged northeastern or bicoastal demographic, interprets that as rank racism. Well, part of his campaign is no doubt rank racism, but part of what people are hearing who are not racists, who voted for Donald Trump when he says, we'll build a wall, I'll take this nation back. They're just talking about self-determination. They're talking about a nation state.
What do you think then is the possible answer from the left to the appeal of Trump?
The left knows what to do. Bernie Sanders was the left's actual candidate. And so there isn't a left anymore that can elect a president, because if that means progressive policies that put people first and a strong middle class and strong working class, healthcare and unions, globalized elites are not on board for that agenda. So really we're in a time when left or right establishment candidates are only going to be able to serve the interests of the 6 major industries that run America at this point and increasingly run the world. So one of the answers is to kind of drag Democrats back to listening to and caring about ordinary people, but structurally they can't do that right now because there's so much money in our system.
Donald Trump?
No, because the Democratic establishment would never have tolerated or supported a Sanders nomination.
Sure,
and no, he didn't.
Had they given him the support? Had he been able to make that appeal directly?
Possibly in a theoretical world in which there aren't party gatekeepers, but really what I'm trying to say is that we're in a time when the only thing, and you're seeing it with the Trump election, the elites will not pay attention to populism, so it's being redirected into racism and xenophobia. And what everyone in the world needs to get is that ordinary people are seeing through the agenda of globalization to take sovereignty away from ordinary people.
Are you saying, Naomi, well, for many people who see you above all as a campaigner for the women's movement, that actually this anti-globalization cause is more important, is more of a priority for you now?
I'm deeply committed to feminism. Women are 53% of the population. They're the majority of people who are being disenfranchised. But the best thing to do is to create tools for civic engagement where ordinary people can learn about issues and harness the power of the internet to actually drive political mobilization and social change. We, media elites, if you like, really need to redirect our energy instead of making fun of people who voted for Brexit or even making fun of people who voted for Trump. Is what we really need to do is respect ordinary people, listen to them, and start to drive policies that really support and address the fact that most people in advanced Western democracies are starting to feel deeply impoverished and like their futures have been taken out of their hands.
Naomi Wolf, thank you for joining us.
Well, listening to that is Emily Thornberry, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, and as I say, a close ally of Jeremy Corbyn's. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What is your explanation for what we've seen in the United States? Plenty of people put it down to racism, they say misogyny. It's striking that your leader describes it as a global wake-up call, almost as if he welcomes it.
I don't think that it would be right to say that Jeremy welcomes it. I think that he recognises what's happening, which is that, as Naomi Wolf was just saying, there are too many people, there are too many regions who just feel as though politics at the moment doesn't represent their interests. And Jeremy says that, and he's right to have said so, he says that this is a way of, as with Brexit, that the system needs to be shaken up. We need to make sure that our politics actually works for everyone, and we need to make sure that we're not just acting on behalf of the few.
So the Labour leadership think that Mr. Trump is tapping into the same seam of anger that took Jeremy Corbyn to power?
Well, yes and no. So I think that it's right to say that people do feel that there are too many people who feel the political system doesn't work on behalf of everyone. I think that it's right that there are hundreds and thousands of people who have now been energised in Britain by Jeremy Corbyn being the leader of the Labour Party. So I think that there are some similarities. I hope that, and I think that it's quite clear that the values and principles that Jeremy Corbyn espouses are very different to those espoused by Trump.
Well, indeed, when that begs the question really as to what you can then do, because it is clear what he was able to do. He was able to say, put the barriers up to Muslims coming into the country, put the barriers up to immigration. But you and the Labour Party keep going into working class areas and saying you're wrong to be opposed to immigration, we're not going to stop it.
I don't think it's as simple as that. I just think that is very, if you don't mind me saying, I think that is inherently simplistic. I think that...
Well, other than you have rejected calls for a cap on immigration, you've rejected calls over the years for an end to free movement in the EU, and you kept saying, oh, we'll try to get your wages better, or we'll get better marketing position for you.
I wonder what will happen in the next 4 or 5 years in the United States when you've had a presidential candidate who gets elected on the back of very simplistic promises, and whether he's going to be able to actually put those policies into fruition, and what the effect of that will be. Because I suspect that it will show that simplistic solutions do not work. That what you need to be doing is we need to be doing things like investing in skills and jobs. And actually, to give him his credit, I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but Donald Trump was talking about the importance of investing in jobs, investing in infrastructure, getting the economy going in all parts of the country, not just in the main cities. And that's right.
But perhaps the lesson of Trump that Jeremy Corbyn needs to learn is not simply who he is tapping into the support for, but that they want simple, popular messages. They don't have to be the same messages, but you, at the moment, don't have those messages, do you?
I think that the job of opposition is a work in progress, unfortunately. We've lost a general election. There's recently been the upset in relation to Brexit. It's right that we think very, very hard about the messages that we're getting from the British public, and we need to start working out what the best way of expressing how different we are, because we are very different to this government, and we are an alternative, and this we will be a good alternative. We need to be able to express that clearly. I agree with you. I think the challenge is there, and we need to work on this.
Quick final one. Want a betting tip? I don't know if you're a betting woman, but plenty of people after Brexit, after Trump, say, well, maybe I should put a fiver on Jeremy Corbyn. It doesn't look very plausible according to the polls just now.
Oh yeah. No. Politics in Britain is going very, very fast indeed.
So how much money would you put on a Corbyn premiership then?
I don't bet, but I think the wheel will turn, and I think that many of the things that Jeremy says is absolutely right. And if people think about some of the polling is very interesting. If you look at what it is that we say on issues, they're very popular. And what we need to do is to make it clear that these are the things that Labour stands for. And you're right, we need to be able to express that clearly and firmly.
Emily Thornberry, thank you very much.
It is 16 minutes to 9. How much damage could a Trump presidency do to the security, the safety of the world? Quite a lot, some military people say. Air Chief Marshal Sir Michael Braden is on the retired Royal Air Force officer. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And you're particularly concerned about his attitude to NATO.
Well, I'm concerned about what he said with regard to NATO and one or two other things which bear on security in Europe. And if you start off from the position that Mr. Putin would love to see NATO disintegrate, then some of the things Mr. Trump has said take us quite a long way along that track, and therefore we should be concerned.
He has said that he wants other NATO countries to bear more of the financial...
Your time saver travel.
Not sure we are saving your time this morning. We're doing our best though at the Oxfordshire Traffic Control Centre, getting you from A to B. How well?
Right, so we're doing our best. Thank you, Howard. Well, still problems at the Headington roundabout. Traffic lights are still out on all approaches, but usually the traffic is coping quite well coming from the A40 London Road up towards Thornhill Park and Ride. There is a bit of a queue though coming up from the Bayswater Road to the Headington roundabout, taking the best part of 10 minutes to get down that side. But the northern bypass and eastern bypasses are okay, but there is a bit of a queue going into town, I'm afraid, on the A420 London Road from the Headington roundabout down towards Headley Way. Elsewhere in the city centre, still got a lengthy delay too along Marsh Lane from the Boston Fly. We're taking the best part of 20 minutes to get up to Cherwell Drive. Woodstock and Bamber Road still very busy too, as is the Bobby Road, and the Abingdon Road looking quite slow A34 southbound still a bit patchy.